have like 30, 40 boba store in America is good enough.
Yeah, I mean, right? Depends
Right?
what you want. I mean, yeah, depends what you want.
And then to be a franchisor, you become the leader of leaders.
Right, exactly. Leader of leaders.
Hello, my name is Jimmy Tran, owner and CEO of Worldcraft Logistics. I do transportation, and today we have Dan with us.
Hi, my name is Dan. I'm a business attorney in Orange County, California. I've been an attorney since 2005. I work with business owners and entrepreneurs in the areas of new company formation, trademarks, franchising, and virtual in-house counsel.
So you've been doing it for 18 years. Wow.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm here, or the reason why we're here, is because the Asian community. There's a lot of Asian that want to open boba shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you specialize in franchise, right?
Yeah. Oh, technically can't say specialized because in California that has a very legal connotation.
Oh, okay.
Right, and I'm not at that quite level yet, but I do have some experience in franchising some of my clients. Obviously, food and beverage is one of the most popular areas of franchising. So I've guided a handful of companies through their franchising process in California and in other states to get them ready, get their franchise disclosure documents all prepared, and get it registered with the state where the states need it.
Okay, so I'm gonna pretend today I want to open a boba franchise, right? And a lot of people, when they open their boba franchise for the first time, they really don't know what to do, or we all need legal advice, right? Can you give me 3 common problems or situation that people run into when they open their franchise?
Yeah, there are lots of mistakes that I've seen happen, but I'll share with you the most common common 3. The first one I would say is the disclosure document itself. So you've probably heard the term FDD, which is short for franchise disclosure document. It is it is about 23 items in a particular document that is standardized by what's called by the Federal Trade Commission, and in particular states as well. But there's 1 to 23 talking about.
It's my first time hearing it.
Yeah. Okay.
This is good.
Yeah.
Yes, this is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So things like, hey, how much is it going to cost you to open it up?
Oh.
Right. What are the responsibilities of the franchisor? You as the franchisor, what are you not responsible for? Right. How many stores do you have open? How many stores do you expect? Right. And so this combined with all the exhibits, the contract itself, and some of the supplemental documents, these can add up to about 200 pages worth of essentially contracts, right?
Wow.
And so even for lawyers, right, that's kind of sometimes on the higher end of documentation. So I think and I'm not saying it's impossible.
So it's not something that a lot of people, like business owner that's starting out, a lot of the time we do is we Google and we say, hey, how, of samples, right? It doesn't work. From 200 pages, you're not gonna find out on Google.
Yeah. You'll find a sample, but it's not as easy as just taking out that information from there and then putting your own information there. There's lots of nuances that are involved, and what one company may want to be responsible for in terms of delivering the services, another company may not want. So like I had a client that for a long time they would help with grand opening services, right? And so this was an additional fee, but hey, for a fee we'll give you the plan. We'll contact the local chamber of commerce. We'll bring a DJ, so they can have a whole party, right, for a grand opening. But for another system, they may not want that, right? They might just say, okay, we won't collect the fee, but the franchisee is responsible for spending at least, let's just say $10,000 on the grand opening, right? And so if you're not familiar with these particular nuances, right, it's going to really bite you in the end. And so obviously as a experienced franchise attorney, you're kind of attuned to these particular things, and you can raise it with our clients as, hey, do you want to do this? And a lot of times the clients, right, the first time franchising, so we'll offer them suggestions. It's like, one of my clients, they're very hands-on. It's like, no, we'll want to be very involved with the process. And so it's different for everybody, but at the end of the day, the documentation is very thorough. It's a lot. And
it protects you from getting sued.
Yeah, right. So really, it protects everybody, right?
Yes.
Because the document is there, as everyone knows what they're getting and what they're not getting.
Yeah. So I run a business too. You have a clear contract, and especially when it's like a contract for to purchase a business, or it's a business partner.
It's
right?
really essentially a contract.
A contract to
essentially,
be a business partner for 5 years.
5 years, 10 years. Usually, food and beverage is about 10 years, but it's whatever is being offered by the franchisor.
Okay, so you prepare that document for them.
Yes,
right?
I work a lot on the franchisors and prepare the documents for them so that it's obviously compliant with not only federal law, but usually particular states have their own requirements, and so we have to obviously make it compliant with that state's particular law as well.
And then the franchisees, they could also hire you to help them review this document too.
Yeah. So I've done that type of work before, although most of our experience is on the franchisor side. But by virtue of us drafting these particular documents, we've seen a lot, and we're kind of experienced in we write them themselves, so that's why we know that's what we're being offered.
You're the builder. You should know, you know
Right.
the plan, right? You should know the blueprint because you're the builder.
Yeah.
You do the blueprint and you also build.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So documentation is needed if you're gonna with any business. So not only boba shops or whatnot, and it's with other business you do it for corporate or starting out as well, right?
Right.
So how about number two? What's number two that common mistake?
Yeah, so I think the second one I would say is not securing the trademark early enough. So for those of you who don't know, you may know, Just Do It or The Ultimate Driving Machine. These are, Nike and BMW, right? These are slogans, but there's swoosh, and you've probably seen the BMW logo, which is in the black and white.
Yes.
And the blue circle, right? So you've seen these symbols you associate with cars, German cars, or sneakers and apparel. They're busy, right? They're just trying to sell as much boba as they can. But what's going to be important for you, because it's part of the franchise process, right, is like what I want as a franchisee is you as a franchisor, that you have the federal registration, that no one else can use it, right? So
Yes.
that it makes me comfortable buying a store, opening a franchise for
yes,
you,
that's
right?
right, that's
'Cause
right.
now I know you actually own the name.
You protect you as the leader, protect all of us that work under you or buying your brand.
Right.
Got
And so if I know that you have the registration certificate, right, it makes me feel better that, hey, you own it, and it's going to be harder for someone to come and challenge that
Got
ownership,
it.
right? As opposed if you don't get it, you can still operate a name depending on the circumstances, but you have to disclose to me as a franchisor, hey, I don't have the federal trademark registration yet. You as the franchisee may have to change the name later on because we don't have it yet, or we may be susceptible for third-party challenges against the name. So that process, I usually say get that done even before you want the franchising process. Just as a business owner, you want to protect your name so that no one else can use that name in the food service industry. Because it will take, right now it's taking about at least a year to get the federal registration right now for a
But
trademark.
from my understanding, as long as you start the process, you're somewhat protected until a year later.
Kind of. So like anything lawyerly, it kind of depends. But once you submit the application in, it does tell other people, like, hey, there's already application in. Then it might discourage other third parties from submitting their own application, because they'll see, oh, this name is too close, or it's the same exact name. We're not going to submit ours because our application is going to get rejected because Jimmy's company's already submitted application. So obviously, the sooner the better is really what it comes down to for trademark applications.
Okay. So we're here in the U.S. This application for trademark, does it also protect, does it also cover Canada, or is it how does it work?
Yeah, so there's no worldwide trademark registration, but for some countries that are part of this agreement, right, you can kind of extend your registration or applications to those particular countries. But at the end of the day, each country really has their own trademark registration system. So just because you have one automatically in the United States doesn't mean you automatically have one in any other country. So you still have to go through the process of getting registrations in those other countries.
Yes. I mean, have 30, 40 boba store in America is good enough.
Yeah, I mean, right? Depends
Right?
what you want. I mean, yeah, depends what you want. But obviously that's a fairly good system to have if
Yes.
you have 30, 40 stores. But if you have that many stores, no doubt that you will get inquiries from people from out of the country wanting
go globally.
to go bring that concept back to their home country. So obviously you got to protect the name. You got to make sure you can get the supplies over there, or they can able to source, of course, source your same quality supplies, right?
Yes.
Because you can't get everything everywhere, and so but for sure, you know, you if you're gonna go global, you want to make sure your name is protected in everywhere you go.
Got it. So like me being Vietnamese, right? Like if I don't own boba store, or I'm planning to, but for the sake of let's say I want to expand to Vietnam, right? Do you guys trademark in Vietnam for us as well?
Unfortunately, we don't, but we have local contacts there that can help with getting trademarks there. And yeah, like, you know, as you've seen, Vietnam has grown many, you know, rapidly developed in the last 20 or 30 years. So a lot of, you know, first ones, right? KFC, right?
Yes, that's right.
Starbucks.
Oh,
right?
there you go.
Right? Those are all very popular franchises in the United States. So obviously, a lot of more American brands are heading over there. So it's a good market for the right franchisor.
Got it. And then finally, number 3.
Yeah, so I think, and maybe this should have been at the top, but it's actually not being ready. As a successful, say, boba shop owner, you'll probably get a lot of inquiries. Hey, I wanna franchise your. I love your concept, right? But you know, there's a saying: don't put the cart before the horse, right? And you kind of step back, take stock of introspection of, hey, am I ready to do this? Because and actually was watching Shark Tank the other day, and Mark Cuban, or maybe it was Barbara Corn, says, hey, being a franchisor is so much different than being a operator of your own 30 or 40 corporate stores, right?
I can see that.
There's lots of crossover, but there's lots of things that is different, right?
Yeah, like from my experience, an operator is the person that works inside the job, right? And then to be a franchisor, you become the leader of leaders.
Right, exactly, leader of leaders. Right now, you have to manage, you know, franchisees, right?
Yeah.
And you know, they're not your employees, right? It's not like you can tell them what to do the same way you can tell employees, right?
Yeah.
And so obviously you have the experience, but like
they also have experience too.
They also have experience too, right? You know, and this is also what's important, to have a good vetting process.
Yes.
Right? You want to bring on the right people. Just because they're a lot of money, it's really not a really good reason to bring on a franchisee, right? You want to have a good screening process, because their success is your success, right? But you know, kind of going back is, you know, you want to get everything ready so that you can franchise. That means, right, getting all your standard operating procedures in place, right? There's a thing that you have to deliver to the franchisee called the operations manual, and it's really the playbook, right? So it's like, you know, if it was printed.
Do you help with that playbook?
Yeah, so we don't specifically do it, but obviously being in the industry, we have consultants and colleagues that will help clients. Clients do that. But yeah, so part of the process is you deliver as a franchise delivering. Now it's all digital, right? But you know, imagine if it was printed. Probably some companies are probably this thick, right? Probably 400, 500 pages.
That's right.
But you know, think about what a franchise is supposed to be. You're supposed to take any guy, any girl off the street, and if they're coachable, but you say, hey, I have the system for you to be successful. So the ability, your system should be set up where you can just grab anybody and plug them into your system, and if they do exactly what you say, then they
become successful.
Then they will be successful. That's kind of how simple it should be. So you have to deliver the operating agreement to them, operations manual, and so that's a big delivery on. And so a lot of operators, franchisors, business owners, they're not there yet, right? They have a lot of things in their head. They have a lot of things that they train orally, that they tell you, but it's not written down anywhere.
Yeah, like before talking today, I thought like, hey, you wanna like open my store somewhere in Texas? Here's my name, and then here, you know, sign in. Here, I'll take 8%.
Right.
After I talking to you, I was like, oh, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Based on what you tell me, it's like a year preparation.
It could be, yeah. It could be, because you know, obviously there's the operation side, right? Because you know, there's some not so good franchises who just do that and don't give the support, right? But
that's when you get sued.
That's right here against it. And this is what I always say, right? This is what I always say. Like, everyone's happy when everyone's making money, right? No one complains when both sides making money. You making a lot of sales, you giving me my 8%, 5%, whatever. Everyone's happy. But when you start struggling, right, and you want to get out, and I say no, and then you're like really desperate because you're losing money every month, right, and you can't pay your rent, and then now you start looking to get out of the contract, and then you're looking, okay, well. All right, now we're gonna start. I'm gonna go look for a franchise lawyer and see. All right, let's see how many holes in this contract. All right, what did he deliver it on? Did he didn't deliver it? Did he follow the 14-day? Is the 14-day cooling off period? Did they follow the full 14-day cooling off period? Is it registered in the state that I do? So, you know, when I talk to my colleagues who do they try to get out of these contracts and say, yeah, this is, you know, I look at the contract and I see what I try to get out, right? And so, so you got to be like, when you say a year, I think that's pretty fair, right?
Yeah, based on what you're telling me, it's probably a year. It's a good amount, like not too rush, and you know, going at a pace where everyone is comfortable.
Is everyone comfortable, right?
Yes.
And that's, you know, that's just getting ready to make the first sale. Between getting your standard operating procedure ready, submitting your trademark application, working with the franchise attorneys to draft all your documents, because it takes us on a kind of a normal pace about 3 to 6 months to draft it, because there's a lot of information we need to take, and then sometimes, you know, we open one door and then like there's, oh, we gotta fix this, and we open another, oh, we gotta fix this, so that pushes things back a lot. Like I've been working for one client, they hired me to do it, and they're not ready, they don't have the personnel to do it, and so sometimes we'll bring in a franchise consultant and say, hey, you need to talk to them first because you need to fix your operations side first and make sure you're ready. But it is hard because when you have a really good concept, you'll get a lot of inquiries. And it's hard to contain kind of that excitement.
It's like everyone want to date you, but now you just need to clean up your house.
Yeah, clean your own house first, right?
Clean your own house. Make sure, you know, like people open the door and make sure your bedroom is neat and your kitchen is neat before you start bringing in a bunch of guests.
Yes, right, or party, right? Yeah.
Party. Before you throw a party, clean up your house.
Yeah, and you have a very messy house, right? But it is hard, right? Because people say, yeah, my franchise fee $50,000. Who's not gonna turn around $50,000? A lot of people, right? $50,000 franchise fee.
I'm bringing the alcohol.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think, and this is the word I tell, you know, people who come time. It's like, you gotta exercise discipline. The discipline to turn away whatever cash they're waving in front of you, and the discipline to maintain your focus for at least a year, say, just to get all the things you need to do to get ready to franchise.
I think to run a franchise, or having a store, you know, buying the name, you don't just throw money at it. Mm-hmm. Because by throwing money at it, what happens if, you know, some guy say, hey, you know what, I'll buy the name from you and I'll open a store down the street, I'll give you $1 million, and then this guy, he doesn't even work there, he's just traveling all the time. The store will collapse, and it just, people start complaining. People say, hey, your boba tastes terrible, and it just ruined all the names.
Yeah, and so, you know, what happens in some situations is that other store, right? They're gonna say, oh, you know, the place you buy boba from too expensive. I'm gonna go to this other place and buy it because it's cheaper. But sometimes they find it inferior quality, right? And so now you have one store that doesn't serve it very well, but that affects all the other stores because they think
it destroys the name.
It destroys the reputation and destroys the name. You just can't be anybody. So you have, like you mentioned, the Wiener Schnitzel. You have to work for the company, and that's their vetting process, right? Making sure the people that they bring on as franchisees is they know their culture, right? And they know what they're gonna what the company's gonna deliver consistently from store to store.
Okay. Closing thoughts?
Yeah, franchising, you know, is not for everybody, right? And if you, you know, we're kind of, 30, 40 stores corporate.
Yeah.
That's a success, I think, no matter what. And if you don't franchise, you know, it's not for everybody. But you know, it's like using other people's money is a concept, right? It's like use other people's money to expand your footprint, your brand awareness. It can be very exciting, but it does come with, you know, its own set of, you know, rules and regulations and expectations. So I encourage you to investigate it at least and see it. talk to people and friends if they've encountered, the process, and do as much research as you can before going in, because it is an investment. Not for the franchisor, right? You got legal fees, you got CPA fees, you got consultant fees. In California, you kind of need a certain amount of money in the bank just to be well capitalized. The state regulators want to make sure that you just don't take money and go run off.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
And so so there's lots of regulations in California and the other states, but it can be very exciting, and it could be a good way for a brand to expand very quickly without using kind of your own money.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Dan. And the reason why I'm here today is because I would say we both do backhand, but I do the transportation and the distribution of some of this boba product. And sometimes my client gets stuck, and they ask me for legal advice. I'm no lawyer, so if you are one of my clients, you watching this video, contact Dan. I'll have his contact information below, and then you start building. But like a wedding, it requires like a year to get ready.
There's lots of planning. Does take an investment, right? But hopefully, if it's like a Vietnamese or Chinese wedding, right, your guests will pay for the wedding, right?
Oh, that's a good one. All right. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and contact us below.